things. Even when I was playing professional basketball, we still lived that wild life, man. And it was up until 2004, man. That's when I really found out who I was, man. And in 2004, I almost lost my life because of drugs and alcohol, man. I don't know if you remember that movie, Friday, man, when my man was in that chicken coop.
Yep.
Yeah,
yep.
That was me. That was me one time, man. And so I got into that little trouble, man, and that kind of woke me up, man.
What's happening, y'all? This is Mike D with Black Fathers Now, where we're bringing the village to the brothers. Every couple of weeks, you can look forward to a quick inspirational message or a thought-provoking guest with knowledge and wisdom, all geared towards helping you be the best father that you can be. We're bringing the village to you. Now it's your turn to do something with what you learned. All right, y'all. Let's go. What's going on, fellas? This is Mike D with Black Fathers Now. And dig this. We got a journey, a story, and we got an awesome brother on today that's going to really share some insight, some wisdom. We just got to jump into it. All right. So today I have my man, Clarence Swearengen, on the line with Black Fathers Now today. The brother's originally from Chicago, but he grew up in Memphis. He's a member of Kappa Alpha Psi fraternity. He's afforded one mistake in life. It's okay. But he's a member of Kappa Alpha Psi fraternity. He's a graduate of the University of Tennessee, where he played basketball. He then spent a decade playing pro basketball overseas. He went into coaching. He got into education. But then he also created this powerful program in the metropolitan Knoxville area called Real Talk, which was spawned by his own personal experiences and journey. Fellas in the Black Fathers Now family, let's welcome my man, Clarence Swearengen. How you doing, brother?
Man, I'm doing wonderful, my brother. What an honor, man. What a treat, man. This is a great opportunity, man. And I am definitely thankful for this opportunity, man. Thankful that you chose me, man, to just share my story with my brothers and my sisters out there, man, listening.
That's what's up, man. I mean, dude, when, you and I are friends, so we've connected and we've chopped it up and done some things on the back end. But when you hear the story and you hear the journey, I'm just like, brother, I got to have you on, because everything that we go through is not always for us. It's for somebody else. And if somebody else can learn from and gain some wisdom from your experiences, then my man, it's a life well lived, right?
Oh man, absolutely, man. That's what it's all about, man. If you're not sharing your story, man, how can we grow as a community? How can we grow as people, as Black men, as leaders? So I encourage all of my brothers and all of my colleagues, man, everyone has a story, and everyone's story is different, man. Don't hold that story, share that story, man, because you never know the impact of your story that it may have on others.
Big. And so speaking of story, before we get started, I like to always let the brothers give shout outs, because, the tagline of Black Fathers Now is bringing the village to the brothers. But we also need to pay respects to our village, those folks that help us to become the best version of ourselves. So I want to give you the floor to give shout outs to your village that helps you to become the man that you are, or helped you to become and helps you to continue to be the man that you are today.
Absolutely, man. Well, I definitely need to give a shout out to my mom, man, and for creating me. But just a little bit higher than that, I like to give a shout out to my Lord and Savior for choosing me to be able to tell His story and to live as a reflection of Him. But my family as a whole, man, my sisters, my brothers, my uncles, I got, my cousins, man, my cousin Thad and my cousin James Malone, my brother Wayne Booker, Andre Turner, man, just a host of people, man, that's impacted my cousin, who was Dr. Nick Nelson, who was a professor at the University of Ohio State University, who was like a mentor to me. But man, my Vine family, my first family, not, my boys from the hood, you know what I'm saying? That we grew up in the projects together, man. We still tight now. all my teammates, man, you know, and all my coaches that who coached me over the past years, man. It was so many people that influenced that. To my boss today, who continues to give me an opportunity, Knox County Schools, for giving me the opportunity to be an impact on our young kids' lives, and to my nephews and my nieces, all who look up to me, who depend on me. I just want to, and if I miss somebody, please forgive me. But it's just I just want to let everybody know, man, who has been an influencer, who have made a difference in my life. I want to thank them, from pastors. Oh man, not to mention my pastor, Pastor Chris Stevens at Faith Promise, my pastor, Pastor Norman in Memphis, Tennessee, Pastor Franklin. I mean, like all these guys who have have given me that spiritual foundation to be able to reach our youth of the day, man. So shout out to all of us, man. Everybody who's been a part of this Clarence Swearengen story.
That's what's up, man. And again, we don't limit that, because at the end of the day, we have to make it a point to give credit where credit's due. And sometimes we omit that. I've said this on numerous episodes, but one of the things that my wife and I got to do years ago when we were in Los Angeles, when the Queen Latifah show was on, that was an episode where they had Pharrell, the producer and musician Pharrell was on there. He performed Happy and all of that. That was during that era. But when he was getting interviewed, they were talking to Pharrell about his gifting and this and that. And Pharrell said, you know what? I'm going to be honest with you. Without my team, I'm just a kid from Virginia Beach with good ideas.
Oh, man. Absolutely, man.
It's real.
Not to mention, I forgot about the most important person, my wife and my son and my daughters, that continue to stretch daddy, continue to, take daddy out of their comfort zone, and so, and challenge me on a daily basis, man. So yeah, man, it's a collective effort, man. I tell you, and I agree with you there, man. If it wasn't for the team, man, I'd just be that little young country boy, man, in Memphis, man, with a little snotty nose, man, running around barefooted outside,
That's what it is, man. But again, we have to do a good job celebrating that, because again, yes, we might be out front and it might be us that gets the quote unquote shine, but the reality is it's not just us. It's all the folks attached to us.
Oh, ain't no doubt, man.
Yeah. Standing on the shoulders of giants, brother. Standing on the shoulders of giants.
No doubt, man.
So speaking of that, man, you mentioned the little snotty-nosed kid from Memphis, but you also mentioned that you were born in Chicago, man. So let's jump into your story. Let's jump into your journey, man. Walk us through the origin story of Clarence Swearengen.
Oh, man. Born in Chicago, man, and we moved out of Chicago when I was 5 years old, and Inglewood Hospital, man, in Chicago, Illinois, man. Moved out of there, and we headed to Memphis. My mom took a job at a company called Plow in Memphis, and my dad was he worked at the post office. He just came out the military. He was in the post office there. So we went to Memphis and grew up in WDIA, Goodwill Village, man, in the projects in Memphis, Tennessee, man. And we were fortunate, to have a 2-parent home. But my parents, they were, they did their thing, man. So, I had a mother who liked to party. She was a very, very beautiful lady. I had a dad who was a swinger. He loved to kick it and loved to party. So, we were actually raised by Big Mama, because my dad and them at that time, man, they wanted to kick it. They stuck us with Big Mama. They go to the dog track. They go to the casinos. They go to the horse races, and do their thing. And so Big Mama raised us, man. So we grew up where, uncles and cousins, were able to whoop your butt. You know what I'm saying? We grew up during those times where your neighbor down the street, she had the right to do that thing. So, but yeah, so we grew up like that, man. We wasn't rich, we wasn't poor. Our family, my parents did a really, really good job. They were both, somewhat educated. Neither one of them graduated from college, but, they were educated enough, man, to instill in us what's right and what's wrong. And then we got most of our raising from Big Mama, man. Big Mama was like the whole glue.
That's it.
She was like the queen bee.
Uh-huh.
Like, when we on Sunday morning, Sunday evenings after church, everybody at Big Mama house, it'd be 100 folks in a 2-bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
You could throw a rock and hit the back door.
Uh-huh.
So but it was family, man. It was we grew up with a really, really strong bond, and we grew up with people supporting us, man. And that's why I do what I do now.
Mm-hmm.
But I went on to middle school, high school at Kingsbury High School in Memphis, Tennessee, and was fortunate enough to be good enough in basketball, man, to end up getting a scholarship at the University of Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
So after I graduated in '84, I went to JUCO,
Mm-hmm.
went to Connors State College for 2 years because I didn't take my grades and didn't take my academics seriously. And so
Mm.
I had to end up going to junior college for 2 years, but it was a blessing in disguise because I went to a junior college that was really strong academically. And so
Mm.
we went there, got my grades up, and was fortunate enough to be a scholarship player at the University of Tennessee, man.
Now, question. Think about UT. Now, was UT is that where you wanted to go? Was that your only option, or was that one of the ones you chose? I mean, how did
That
you?
was one of the ones I chose. Yeah, that was one of the ones I chose, man. I was recruited by Georgia, Alabama, Providence, and Tennessee.
Okay.
Rick Pitino was at Providence at that time, and I bore my decision between Tennessee and Providence.
Mm-hmm.
And so I said, man, you know what? If I go to Providence, my mom then won't be able to travel all the way to Rhode Island and see me often. So I decided to stay at Tennessee, man, and it was actually a good move for me, man. I got a chance to, my parents got a chance to see me on TV. They got a chance to travel. It was only a 5-hour drive from Memphis to Knoxville. So it was actually in the long run a really good move for me. But I think about that all the time. What if I would have went to Providence with Rick Pitino? I probably would have been in the pros a little longer.
Maybe. You never know.
You never know, because he played my style of game. But I was like, you know what? I want to go to Tennessee because I want my mom and them to be able to see me on the tube, man, be able to come. So, but yeah, man, I had that nice journey, man. And after that, I had a nice run playing professional basketball. I had a brief stay with the Denver Nuggets, and then got cut, and then I went to Europe and played over there for probably about 9 or 10 years in Germany and Austria, and so came back after that, man, and I got into coaching. I got my first high school job. I went to Melrose High School in Memphis, Tennessee. And then I went from there to the University of Memphis under Tick Price as the director of basketball operations. And then got lucky. I had a nephew who was playing. He was playing high school ball and was a top recruit. And so they's like, hey, man, we want you to come to University of Tennessee. But you're going to have to bring your nephew with you, right?
There's a method.
Hey, you're going to have to bring your nephew with you. We got a job for you, but you better bring him with you. So no, man, we decided to just take that trip, man. He wanted to play at Tennessee anyway.
Okay.
And so that was under Buzz Peterson. Buzz Peterson was the coach at that time. And Buzz said, hey, man, we would love to have you. You'd be one of the first former players, to come back and be an assistant coach, and especially you'd be one of the first Black African Americans. I was one of the first Black African American coaches that played at the university to come back as a coach.
Wow.
And also come back with a master's degree, man. So I took that opportunity, man, and we did had a couple of good years there. We struggled a little bit there that second year, but and then after we got fired, I went into education, and that's where the journey began, man. That's when the rubber hit the road right there.
So you basically, basketball was kind of your gateway. That opened up the opportunity for you to get these opportunities to travel, to do this, to do that, to go in, to get into coaching. I mean, basketball became that gateway, but basketball got you to a place. And it's interesting. You went to UT as a player, traveled the world, playing professional, coaching, all of that.
Playing a whole lot of countries, man. Yeah.
Countries. And then ultimately, after you came back to the U.S. and you were coaching in high school, you ultimately got back to UT as a coach. And after that stint ended, that's when your education journey began around UT here in Knoxville. It's interesting how this thing came full circle. But I also remember, when you and I were talking, that there were some little things in the middle of this story that that you kind of leapfrogged over here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So talk to us a little bit about some of the journey and some of the obstacles and these wins that you had by overcoming, some various challenges that that faced you in the midst of this journey.
Yeah, man. Growing up in the hood, man, you get caught up in a lot of things. It wasn't just always pretty. My journey wasn't always pretty, man. I'm a recovering addict, man. I started snorting cocaine, man, when I was in the 12th grade, 11th grade in high school, man. And smoking weed. My mom worked at a beer company when we were young boys, man. My mom worked at Stroh's. When she left Plow, she started to she took a job at, it was Slits Malt Liquor Bull at that time. She worked at Slits, and so man, we had beer, alcohol, and my father was an alcoholic, man, and they love to indulge in that, man. So we lived that life, man. We were young. And I carried that over, man, on into college and everything, and into high school, man, and was out there, man, and doing things. Even when I was playing professional basketball, we still lived that wild life, man. And it was up until 2004, man. That's when I really found out who I was, man. And in 2004, I almost lost my life because of drugs and alcohol, man. I don't know if you remember that movie Friday, man, when my man was in that chicken coop.
Yep.
Yeah,
yep.
That was me one time, man. And so I got into that little trouble, man, and that kind of woke me up, man. That was right a year before I was getting ready to get married. Me and my wife now, we were engaged to get married maybe 6 or 7 months before that incident happened. And man, I woke up in jail, man, and I'll never forget it, man. God spoke to me, and He just said, "If you ever do this again," and that was 2004. He said, "If you ever do this again, I'm gonna kill you." And I just, I don't know what it was. I said, "Lord, if you just get me out of this situation, I promise I'll be real to you forever." And that's kind of like how Real Talk kicked off, because that next couple of years, I started working with at-risk youth. So I worked at a place, man, and they worked with kids who were, who had went through some similar stuff, who had got kicked out of Knox County schools. It was called West End Academy. And I worked there, man, and started working with this guy named David Downing, man. He was just trying to, it was more like a rehabilitation, man. He introduced me to the Lord. He challenged me, man, to learn as much as you can, man, about God and about His ways and about and he had me working with these kids who were going through all this trouble. So that's where it kicked off at, and because I had to wait a whole year before, because I had felony. Yeah, I had to wait a whole year because I got caught with drugs on me. So I had to wait a whole year before I can apply for a job through Knox County. So I waited my year, 2005, 2006. And then 2006, I applied for a job at Austin East High School. And Knox County hired me in 2006 after my felony was cleared and then my probation was over. So, hey, man, I started there 2006 and did a really good job. 2007, 2008, man, I was at Austin East High School teaching special ed. And then Vine Middle School called me in 2008, 2009 and said, "Hey, we want you to come to Vine. We need a strong black male in our school." So I went to Vine, start teaching there, and that's when I started Real Talk. I started Real Talk in 2008, 2009 with 5 kids in my classroom. All right, 5 kids, and so we're like, what's the vision for this? What's the vision for Real Talk? I said, man, the vision for Real Talk is to encourage and to empower and to enrich young black men and young women to be successful by keeping it real, realistic, and relational. That's what I said. That's what we finna do. And
say that again. Keep it real,
realistic, and relational.
Realistic and relational.
Yeah. So we're gonna keep it real because we're gonna have a real conversation about real life. You know how me and you talked about going from real talk to real life. That's what that concept. We're gonna be real with each other, man. Because I don't like being around people that's fake, and I don't want to bring in a false, I don't want to bring in a false situations or any false intent to our conversation. I want it to be real. And I want it to be realistic, because I want you to know that there's some things that's out here in these streets that's not for you. It's some realistic situations, man, out here that can harm you, that can hurt you. And I want to make sure that I, as a leader, and as you know, the runner who runs this program, I want to make sure that you don't fall into those same traps that I fell into. And I said, then I want to be relational, because I think it's about relationships. It's all about building those positive relationships with each other. That's how you make it, man. That's how I was able to overcome my story, is because the relationship that I established with people. Because people knew, man, Clarence is a good dude. You know what I'm saying? He ain't that type of person. Like, even when I was out there, I wasn't doing it. I was doing it myself. I wasn't doing it to nobody else. I was indulging for me. Because I like living that life. I like to stay up late, eat steak. You know what I'm saying? So that's what we were doing. You know, and if you know anything about that drug, that's a late night drug, and it makes you stay up all night long. And I love to party. And so, and I had my crew that I partied with, and you know, we didn't get out the house at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night, but we come here in the folk. You know, so but that's the kind of drug it is. You know,
now,
and so.
I want to ask you right there, because, you know, you mentioned that, you know, you had your crew that, you know, you party with. Like, you basically, we all have our crew for different things. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got your crew for this, your crew for that. And you mentioned real talk being about being real, realistic, and being relational. How did some of your relationships change when you made this change in 2004? Like you said, you had the crew that, you know, used to party with and all of that, because I think that's something that, you know, as brothers go through challenges in life, you know, I've heard the concept, that we've all heard the concept, you're an average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, right?
No doubt, yeah.
How did your relationships change? Did you come to a point in which you had to cut folks off? Did you use this to pull some of them out? Was it a scenario in which they started changing because you changed? You know, the relationship piece there, I'd love for you to kind of jump into this from a personal perspective. Like, how did your relationships change at that particular point?
Man, it changed big time, because I know in order for me to move where I wanted to move in life, I had to disconnect myself away from those who I was hanging around with. And I think my situation actually opened up some eyes too, because, man, we were older brothers, man. I'm 52 years old, and you know, that you think about it, that wasn't a long time ago. You know, I was in my 39, maybe 40 some years old at that time, you know, so it wasn't far away, you know. So I think I woke up a lot of my friends too, man. Some guys that I used to hang around, and you know, they used to tell me that, we used to joke about it too, man. I'm glad that happened to you, because you woke me up, and we needed that too, because, you know, things that you keep in the closet, man, will always come to light, man. I always tell you, know, you can think that the darkness won't, you know, that the light won't hit it one day, man. Because I kept that, you know, I was real low profile, and wasn't like nothing I was out here, you know, publicizing. You know, I was really, really discreet about my stuff, but that ain't how God works. You know what I'm saying? God works sometimes, you know, hey, I need to expose you before you dispose yourself. You know?
Hold up. Say that again. I need to expose you before you dispose yourself. Well, that's bars. Fellas, I want you to hear that. I mean, when you really think about that, I need to expose you before you dispose yourself. Yeah. Like, dude, that is powerful.
Yeah, man. You know, and that's how God works, you know. That's how God works. And you know, and so when he did that, man, it opened up the eyes for a lot of my partners, man. A lot of them that we used to kick it with. I just, you know, they knew my journey, and then I was able to talk to them and just say, man, I got a different vision right now, man. I'm on a different mission now. And so, and you know, it wasn't no hard. I mean, we weren't out here hustling. We weren't doing it like that. We was kicking it, and we was partying. So you
were using, you wasn't selling. It was like you were consuming. So it wasn't like you had an empire, and it's like the money finna run out because it was like
dude, you owe me 10,000. I gave you 2 keys. No, I was out here. We was just, you know, we was partying. So for me to disconnect myself, it wasn't hard. It was more so like something that I knew I needed to do. And the crazy part about it, man, it was some of the cats that I was hanging around, man. One of them, got himself in some little trouble. It just seemed like all that stuff started to just crumble down, man. And so I was actually glad, man, that I was able to shake that, and I was glad that God, snatched me up and said, "Hey, I got a different vision for you, man, and this is what I want you to do."
I need to expose you before you dispose yourself. I mean, brothers, I want y'all to really think about that. And one thing I also want to ask is so in the process of overcoming this addiction, was it something that, because, there are some people who are blessed to be able to say look, I never do it again, and they throw the deuces and they're done. Some people have to go through 12-step programs. Some people have to go to rehab. Some people need to do this, do that. What for you, and this is, to help, because maybe it's a brother listening that's kind of dealing with, some level of addiction or the disease of addiction in some way, shape, or form. For you, were you able to just kick it by yourself, or did you have to go through a program to kind of rewire everything and kind of get things in place?
Mine came from a spiritual calling, man.
Wow.
Mine came from a spiritual calling, man. When I told you, when I was in that cell, and man, the Lord told me, man, if you do this again, I'm gonna kill you. It was something like a Holy Spirit or something, man. It was that voice, man, that I heard. And then another way that I got through that, man, is just, I started trusting in God's process. I kept myself around good people, man. Like iron sharpens iron. So I knew I stopped hanging around people that like to do drugs. That was simple as that. If you want to get away from that environment, then you got to remove yourself from that environment. So I started hanging with my wife. You know what I'm saying? I started hanging with my children. Yeah, I started hanging with people who like-minded like me. I started hanging with people who were smarter than me, who can make me a better person. Like if I continue to stay around them same people, then of course that's when you're gonna end up relapsing. You're gonna end up going back. You're gonna end up, hey, it ain't gonna hurt nothing to do a little bit. It ain't gonna hurt nothing to just get a little bit in tonight. We're gonna do just a little bit tonight. We ain't gonna do that much. No, you have to totally remove yourself from that environment in order to overcome it.
And that's, brother, I mean, that's real. I mean, and the thing about it is, it's kind of like with any type of process. Usually we know what we need to do. So for instance, if somebody wants to get in shape, they can typically look at their plate of food and realize that I shouldn't be eating this mess, right? Almost anybody with 2 brain cells can look down and be like, I probably shouldn't eat this, but, right? And so the easy thing to do is to slide that plate away and bring something else. And so to your point, it's easy to say, yo, I'm just going to remove myself from this. But the reality is that's the solution. And the blessing is the fact that you were able to do that through this spiritual awakening that happened when God spoke to you and said, look, dude, I need to expose you before you dispose yourself. And you listened. And you were just like, I ain't ready to be thrown. I ain't ready to be disposed of.
No doubt. Yeah, man. I want to be seen every day. You know what I'm saying? I ain't ready to be down. I don't want to be down below. I want to be up top.
There it is. Vertical, not horizontal, brother.
Yeah, man. I don't want to be laying down looking at the ceiling. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So
that's cool,
man. So
and so to that point, you mentioned and you kind of led to the notion of the creation of Real Talk. So the brothers that are listening, again, you got brothers from all over the world that are listening to this. Explain what Real Talk is. You mentioned that it started or jumped off around 2008, 2009 with 5 students at Vine Middle School here in Knoxville, Tennessee. Talk to us a little bit about Real Talk, how it's evolved, and then what it's doing now, but then also what are some of the things that you have planned, going forward with the program? Yeah,
like I said, I started that program in 2008, right at 2008, 2009 at Vine Middle School with four young black men, man, 4 young black boys, man. We used to sit there, man, and we used to have like different topics. So Real Talk is a spiritually based program where we talk about Christ, and I create a topic and we have discussion questions, and then we relay those discussion questions to real life scenarios. And so we started at Vine. 4 kids, man, used to just talk about things like discipline, talk about self-awareness, talk about appearance. I have those questions, and we just chop it up and like, okay, how does this apply to you in life? Why is it important that you have good appearance? Why is it important that you have good self-discipline? Why is it important that you encourage others instead of breaking them down? and we talk about it, and we apply it to real life. And so the program just kicked off, man. All of a sudden, people, start posting stuff on Facebook and posting things on Twitter. And then, I get another school like, hey, how do I have that program over to my school? Like, okay, we just, I bring the curriculum over there. You got a facilitator over there. We can have a facilitator come over there. And before you knew it, bro, I'm at right now 350 some people in my program at 10 schools.
That's amazing.
And so how it happened is just by word of mouth, man. People start to see the impact. I start to see through my data that Real Talk was impacting lives. It was getting kids to school on time because the program starts at 7:15 in the morning to 7:55, and it's a Christ-driven program. So by starting that early, I can talk about Christ because after 8 o'clock we can't.
Yeah, and so speak to that a little bit and that was one of the things that I was hip to when you asked me to come in and do some speaking with it. One of the things that I was unaware of is the fact that as it pertains to like a spiritually based or a Christ-centered program, if it's a public school, you can't talk about God from the time the bell rings until the time the other bell rings.
Yeah.
And so to that, yeah. So go ahead. So explain a little bit about
that. That's why a lot of spiritually based programs like Yoke and Fellowship of Christian Athletes and all those schools, they have their programs at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. But for my program, I want to kick my day off because I believe that's the key to success. What a better name to start your day off talking about Jesus, or talking about God, talking about the Lord. I want to kick that day off because I don't know what that kid has been through the night before. So when he comes into my program in the morning, we praying together. We talking about problems. We talking about real life. We talking about real situations. We coming up with realistic, ways to help him handle or get through his situation. Mm-hmm. But then we're building relationships because I want that kid to be able to come to me and say, hey, what he's going through, and me as the founder of the program, I want to be able to make sure that my speakers and my facilitators be able to give those kids the right direction and like, hey, man, I want to make sure that from this point on, when you leave out this program, you forgot about what you've been dealing with at home. All right, so you don't worry about your circumstances, your situation at home, because there's no problem that's bigger than our God. Mm-hmm. And so I just believe that kicking the day off right with Real Talk, it benefits our kids, and not only just our boys but our girls too.
Now, so Real Talk is also, you have one, so it's for girls and for guys, or?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. Gotcha. Yeah. I have, so how it works is from 7:15 to 7:55. I'm at different schools during that whole week. So Monday we at Beaumont Elementary School, Tuesday at Vine, Tuesday also at South Door, at Bearden Middle School. Wednesday we are at Maynard. Thursday at Green and Selmore Green. Friday we at Norwood Northwest, and we added Moreland Heights Elementary School this year. Mm-hmm. And then we also add Central High School this year. Give us 10 schools, man.
Wow.
And so each day I send guest speakers to all of those schools, and we have facilitators at all those schools. So I send my curriculum. I send my topic points. All the facilitator needs to do is just when the guest speaker comes there, give him the topic, because I've already sent the topic to all of our guest speakers prior to. Mm-hmm. Give him the topic, have the kids ready for them, and move out the way. And I asked them to capture pictures because I like to get pictures so that I can, so that we can take pictures and post those pictures on Facebook. But yeah, and on Twitter. But yeah, man. So that's kind of how it works. And at the end of the year, we have a celebration where we bring in all of our schools, and we just cook out, man. And we have a powerful guest speaker to come in, and so I just look at it like this here, Mike, man. Just trying to do my part, impacting the lives of our youth, man, to make sure that one day when I'm not around, that Real Talk stays forever, man. And we transform, we transform these kids from Real Talk to real life, and put them in positions that they can be successful, by keeping it real, realistic, and relational with them.
Keeping it real, realistic, and relational. And you're impacting right now, or the program that you start has the potential, or it's impacting currently right now 350 kids in the metropolitan Knoxville area. And honestly, this is just a start. It has the potential to get even bigger and impact.
Oh man, yeah.
And but one of the questions I want to ask you, because this is called Black Fathers Now, right? You are a Black father. Your journey, your story, your experiences, you know, this roller coaster of things that you've gone through, that you've overcome, all of that to the creation of Real Talk. How has all of that come full circle to impact you, Clarence Swearengen, as a father?
Oh man, I mean, you know, being a model, being a role model, man, is very, very crucial for me, man. First of all, I want to be a reflection of my Lord and Savior. Mm-hmm. When people see me, I want them to see Him first. Mm-hmm. And so when people see me, they see Him. So my son sees Him too in me. You know, and so I just try to make sure that each and every day, I try to do what's best. First of all, by my wife.
Mm-hmm. Smart man.
Because my son need to see that.
Yes.
All right. So we're gonna tie this thing. My son need to see that. You know, my father loves his wife. All right. I've been with my wife 15 years, man. Ain't never cheated on her. Right. Mm-hmm. So my son sees that. He sees how I treat his mother, and we pray together every day. Like I try to be that leader in my home. And so not only does he see, you know, his dad treating his mama like she's supposed to be treated, like she's the queen of our house, which she is, but I'm also making sure that as a father, he sees how a king should be as well. And so we do things like we pray together because I want him to understand that in order to get through this life, you have to have a spiritual connection too, man. And so it's very, very important for me to start our day off every morning with prayer. Absolutely. And he always asks me, like, you know, why do we do that? Because, son, first of all, I want you to be covered. And another thing, I just want you to understand the importance of having a spiritual foundation in your life. It makes things so much easier. It gives you that discerning spirit to know when things come your way that are not right. By having this relationship with him, he speaks to you through the Holy Spirit to let you know that, you know what, that's not right, that's not wrong, that's not how you treat people. So I just want to be that model, man. I want to be that model for our youth, for our kids, and for my son, and for my family as a whole. So that when people see us, when others see us, they see Him first. They see the Lord. They see the Lord first, and they see it in our conversation. They see it in our walk. They see it in our talk. They see it in my actions. And that I'm not perfect by no means.
Absolutely.
But I think by trying to be that model for my family and for my kids, it exemplifies how a father should be and how a father should treat and be treated and treat his kids and treat his family.
Fellas, I hope y'all paid attention to that. It's about being that example. Being that example. Kids don't always do what they're told, but there's a strong likelihood that they will replicate and repeat what they see. So
man, absolutely.
Be that example. Be that example. I mean, it's not about having all the answers, because truthfully, we're not perfect. We're going to screw up. We're going to make mistakes. We're going to say the wrong thing, at times do the wrong thing. It happens, right? We're not perfect. But in the midst of it all, be that example. Show your kids that, you know what? Yes, I'm an imperfect vessel, but guess what? Perfection's not a requirement for greatness.
Absolutely, man.
Perfection is not a requirement for greatness. And I'm going to not just tell you, I'm going to show you. So Clarence, you know, this is your life. This is your journey. This is how you're living it. What wisdom or what bar or what thought would you like to leave with the brothers to kind of marinate on? Because this is called Black Fathers Now. So we share stories, we share journeys, but the last part after the comma, now, we also want to leave the brothers with something they can take and apply to their life right now, because we want this to be action oriented. You know what I'm saying? I want to tell good stories. I want to share some awesome stuff, connect the brothers with you so they can hear what you got going on and support and all of that. But then we also want you to drop something on them that they can apply to their life right now and take action on What's that thing that you like for the brothers to take action on?
Hey man, I just, if I had a few words just to tell the brothers, man, I mean, I'm just a true, I'm true to the game, man. Stay true to the game, man, and not just the game of life, but stay true to the game of fatherhood. And stay true, like we're not perfect out here in this world. I mean, we all make mistakes. Stay real with your kids, man. Stay real with who you are as a person. Don't allow distractions to speak out before your faith. And I always tell my son that I just want my light to shine so before men that they see my good work, and then I'm going to glorify Him in heaven, man. And that's the way I live my life. Life is very, very simple, but we sometimes make it so complex because we do things that are not pleasing in God's eyesight, man. So keep your life simple. If you're a married man out there in the game, man, stay true to your wife, man. Stay true, because that's how you get your blessings in life, man. I've learned that, man. Like, why is God continuing to bless me so much? He's blessing me because of my faithfulness, and not only my faithfulness to my wife, but my faithfulness to Him. And so, all of my advice to you, it goes right back to what God wants us to be. And if you stay in alignment with what He wants you to be and stay in alignment with His word, man, then you will reap the benefits, and you will prosper in everything in life that you do.
2 A's, fellas: alignment and action. Alignment and action. Stay aligned with His word and what He's called you to do. Keep it simple, and then take action.
Absolutely, man.
Can't say it better than that, brother.
That's real talk, baby. Coming all the way from Chicago, Illinois to North Memphis, baby, to Knoxville, Tennessee. That's how we do it.
Yeah, I can dig that. And as we kind of finish this thing up, brother, like, how can brothers follow up with you? How can they connect with you? Is there any resources or whatnot in which they can come and check out?
Absolutely, man. You can follow us at Real Talk at Vine on Twitter. And then also Real Talk Mentoring Inc. on Facebook, man. And just hook us up, send a friend request, man. Follow us. Also, man, we are a 501c3 company. So if you like what you see on our webpage, we have our webpage up here in the next 2 weeks. We just launched launching that and getting that up and running.
Well, what's you know what the website's going to be?
Not off the top of my head, but I think it's I want to say www.realtalkinc.com, but I'm not. Let me
I got you.
Let me make sure that I'll shoot that back to you.
Well, check this out, fellas. This is going to air after that 2 week point. So once he gets back with me, I'll make sure that the website is in the show notes. So in the show notes, we'll have the connectivity on Twitter. It's at Real Talk Vine. Right. And then on Facebook is at Real Talk Inc. on Facebook, right?
Real Talk Mentoring Inc.
Real Talk Mentoring Inc. Okay, got you. So at Real Talk Vine on Twitter and Real Talk Mentoring Inc. on Facebook. I'll have that in the show notes. And then when Clarence and I connect in the next couple of weeks, he'll give me the website, and I'll have that in the show notes as well for you all to be able to connect, to link, to donate, to support, to follow, and all of that, because this is, we're recording it now, but it's not going to release for another 5 or 6 weeks. So it'll be out there then.
Yeah, I look forward to it, man. There's some powerful things going on, man. And I just need powerful people, man, on my team, powerful people investing in something that's going to benefit our youth, man. So, yeah, man, let's make it happen, baby.
Connecting with a powerful brother with a powerful story who's doing powerful things. And but he's connected to the ultimate power source. That's real, and that's real talk for you.
Real talk, baby.
So, fellas and the Black Fathers Now family, man, make sure you get out and support my man Clarence Swearengen. His initiative, what he's doing, his journey, his story is powerful and impactful. Make sure to follow on Twitter, Real Talk Vine, and on Facebook, Real Talk Mentoring Inc. on Facebook, Real Talk Mentoring Inc. And once Real Talk Mentoring Inc. on Facebook, and once he gets me the website, which will happen in the next couple of weeks, By the time this airs, the website will be on and it will be in the show notes as well. Make sure you reach out to him and make sure you connect and let him know you heard about him on Black Fathers Now. Reach out to the brother. Let him know, hey, I heard about you on Black Fathers Now. I like what you're doing. Connect, support. It's a 501c3. You can donate to it. Make it happen. Let him know. Show some love because, again, it's a powerful brother doing a powerful thing. He's connected to the ultimate power source. So how about you add a little bit more power to this thing that's going on?
Hey, Mike, and we also, man, looking for great guest speakers, man. So if you are a motivational speaker, I'm looking to impact at a greater level, man. So hook me up, man. Just holler at me and let me know that, hey, man, I would love to come in and speak to our kids. We got about 507 kids, man, at our school right now, and we need positive black males, positive black fathers to come in and speak to these kids who are fatherless. And so, man, this will be an ultimate challenge and an ultimate blessing that you probably would never imagine, man. So if you like to do that, contact me, man, and let's make it happen at Vine Middle School. Definitely.
Well, you can also count me in. I'm down to come speak anytime. Oh, yes. Yeah, I've been there before, but I can come again. Most definitely.
I got you.
You got me already. Yeah. So other brothers who speak, who got a message, definitely reach out to Clarence again. Real Talk Vine on Twitter, Real Talk Mentoring Inc. on Facebook, and the website will be in the show notes once this thing airs. Man, I want to thank you for taking time to be transparent, to share your story, to share your journey. And this thing's going to help somebody, man. So I basically, salute you for taking time to do that, but then to also listen to that call that God put on your heart, to put on your life, to go and take action, because a lot of people hear it, but a lot of people don't take action on what they hear. So I salute you for doing that. That in itself is inspiration to somebody listening right now to take action on that thing, freaking their spirit. So, brother, man,
absolutely, man, you gotta be vulnerable, man. You gotta be vulnerable, man. You gotta be vulnerable, man. That's the only way to to keep it real with yourself and also, man, be able to help others, man.
That's it. Got to keep it vulnerable. Well, fellas, as always, make sure to visit blackfathersnow.com. Make sure to follow Black Fathers Now on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and subscribe via iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, Amazon Alexa, Spotify. Anywhere you listen to podcasts, make sure to subscribe, share this episode out. Again, make sure you follow and connect with my man Clarence Swearengen. He's doing some really awesome things. Support. Share this episode out. Share his story out. And if you are a guest speaker, a motivational speaker, and you're a brother who wants to connect and, get in front of some folks in regards to the Real Talk mentoring program or at his middle school, definitely reach out. Contact information is in the show notes. And this has been brought to you by Black Family Apparel. Visit blackfamilyapparel.com to grab some dope apparel that celebrates the nuances of the Black family. And fellas, until next time, y'all be blessed, well, and wise. And I'll holler at you. Peace. Yo, fellas, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. And always visit blackfathersnow.com, as well as follow Black Fathers Now on virtually every social media platform you can think of. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, everywhere. Just follow us and engage with us, man. Look forward to hearing from you. And I guess until next time, I'll holler at you. Peace.